No one heard that, right?
Everybody heard it. Hey, everybody, here we go.
The City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Welcome to episode 285 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. That's right, we've been around a while. For this one, we're going to call it unfinished business for very obvious reasons. We have unfinished business with a certain team we have to deal with this weekend on multiple levels. Finish them, as I always like to say. Of course, to do this, we brought in the big guns today. We went big with this. So Aracelli's in the mix, Tony is in the mix, Bam is in the mix, and oh yes, that's the man himself, Ken Miknuk, the Falconer. Welcome back here, Ollie's dad. I know we haven't had you on the podcast yet. I think most haven't, but we are
Yeah,
beyond
7
honored to have
years.
you on. I know, right? 7
Yeah.
years, no
I'm gonna
podcast.
have to pay you $100 to get on here. That's bullshit.
We
On you,
charge a
man.
premium. We're now officially sponsored by the LAFC Falconer program, Winged Solutions. Yes, I kid. Ken, how are you doing, man?
Sheesh. You know, when anyone ever asks me, like when I'm at a match, like, how you doing? What's going on? I'm like, it's match day. It's the best day of the year. It's so anytime we start talking about LAFC and some MLS stuff, but mostly LAFC, everything in terms of challenges of the world just goes away and I get happier.
As it should
So,
be, right?
in spite of the hundred
Right.
bucks to get on air with you guys, I'm loving it. And it's
Oh man,
I
yeah.
was no, I was really excited to finally get on.
Well, you were telling me at the game, actually down by the field,
Mhm.
that you had never been on any of the podcasts. Like, hasn't happened, and you're like, when the hell am I going to get on your show? And I'm like,
I was
hey, I think this match might be the right one, right? Previewing the Galaxy match. I think it's a perfect fit. You, like me, have been there since day zero, pretty much. First time we met was at the LAFC Experience Center, for those guys who know where that is. Basically, for the season ticket holders and 3252, we did all our meetings there. And so the first time we met Ken, he actually had Ollie. Your son was with you.
my
Um,
grandson.
yeah, and
That's the
basically,
tradition.
and I think it was Tom Penn that was the guy that was like really digging it, right?
Yeah, he was the one who brought me into LAFC and fought for this outrageous concept of having a falcon hunting the opponent's lure. When everyone else on the planet Earth, including the U.S. Air Force Base, U.S. Air Force Academy, rather, they have their falcons fly off. So everyone saw it as huge risk. So yeah, I owe Tom Penn a great deal for this, big time.
And I was on the other side of the door before you came in, and I remember we had this big thing like no mascots, no mascots. Like 3252, we're adamant, like, no, it's the community, it's the city, no mascots, no mascots at all. We don't want to
You
see
still
this
don't have
goofy
one.
thing. We don't have a mascot. We
No,
do
you
not.
have a symbol.
Exactly. Exactly. And so when you came in, when they said, Guys, you're gonna like this," because we had no idea who was on the other side of the door. Um, but Tom was like really excited. And so he opened the door and you guys came in and we see this amazing Falcon, and that's it. Like, we were sold in the first second, because again, this is a live animal, something that can really symbolize what we do. The wing is here, the perfect fit, right? And it's not some goofy thing that or person in a costume is going to embarrass us at some point and get on, random. No, man, it's cool,
I'll
super cool.
embarrass you, but that's okay.
Well, you tend to try to do that every week, so I kind of expect it at this point.
Yeah.
It's kind of the natural now. But speaking of that too, the next time I saw you, I think was at the stadium with Jerry doing a tour. And you want to explain to him what you did to me that day?
I'm probably ashamed of it, but no.
No, you don't want to say.
I forgot. I'm old.
You don't remember? Ah, okay. So we're walking through the north end. The field's not even like settled yet. I think it was dirt. And it was just recently built.
Oh,
Hard hat,
that was fun.
and I had no idea you were
Yeah.
even there. Explain what you did, man, because it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I was being a jerk.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
God, it was so much fun. I'd do it again. So we actually have 3 Falcons and 1 Hawk. Bond, John Autobahn is his name, is literally laser guided. I could point a laser to a spot and he will fly to it. And Joseph wasn't looking. So I sent Bond right over his head, just in front of his face, I think it was. Almost shit himself, fell down the stairs, could have died. I would have felt bad after I stopped laughing.
Not quite that way, but it was pretty. Oh, so here's the deal. He flies silent, right? Like there's no sound, there's no warning. All I felt or witnessed was a shadow, one, and a rush of wind. And I look up and there's this bird sitting on one of the rails, like you guys stand every game, right? Sitting just staring at me. What the hell? I look down and you're just like, you're dying. You're laughing like, oh, I got him good this time. Mind you, that's not the last time you did this either. I remember a tifo painting where I think I was having dinner and he flew past my head this time, but that shot was right. He was here. He flew right past me like this behind. But I kind of knew he was coming because we were joking about it. Probably one of the best shots I've seen yet because I mean he was full out wings right here next to my head.
I only do that to people I like. I'm sorry.
I agreed. I felt it was an honor to have Bond give me that type of visit. It's one thing to see him just hanging out. It's another thing to see him like doing his work. Of course, you can explain to them what actually Bond was doing at that stadium while they were doing the biz. I mean, because that was a critical, he was critical being there. He was doing a job. He was working, right?
Yeah. I just want to go back a little bit about the Experience Center.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I met 3252 and y'all met me, and it went great. It was all positive. It's not a mascot, a dude in a silly fuzzy costume. It's a badass symbol. And then I remember leaving. I had a couple of beers. Jason was driving home. Okay, I had several beers. And Rick on the way out says, you just passed your audition. Like,
Pretty much.
what do you mean? It says, if they didn't like you, you'd be gone. And I'm like, hallelujah.
No, it was like that. I don't think people really understand how connected in the early days the leadership from 3252 was with the leadership of LAFC itself, the bond and how tight it was back then. Even we couldn't understand compared to everyone else in the world how tightly we worked together in concert to make things the right way, to do things the right way. Ken was one of many moments. I mean, the rail seats, seeing the prototypes for the first time after we had been lobbying to get him and got a lot of no's, to finally the club surprising us and actually falling through and doing it. Every little aspect down to the songs, why does Red Hot Chili Peppers play right before the second half? That was an agreement with us. I mean, it is down to that. That's how tight things were in the beginning to make it right. And Ken, you were there for all that. You saw the process as it went, as it built, and everybody being involved and bought in. And basically, if you were working under this logo, right, under this brand, under this club, it was synergy, right? It had to be for the right moments and the right reasons. Those who weren't didn't last long. That simple. And so, Ken, you were critical to it with the culture. And one thing that you did do, and you're still doing every day that we're there, is providing an opening for the kids, and a critical opening for them. Is, there's a soccer side of it, right? But you're providing a friendly moment for them and giving them something to look forward to outside of just the players and just the game. Are we going to see Ollie this week? Like, my kids will ask every time, are we going to see Ollie? Like they always do. They have, Astrid got her stuffed Ollie, her plushie this week, and has been flying it. The one thing she did complain about is it doesn't attach to my arm. She's like, how do I make it attached? So she's trying to figure that out, and she'll work it out. Probably gonna have slap bands or something attached to the bottom of it by the time she's done, because that's how she operates. But she, for her, it's, she wants to replicate, she's in. But that's you. That was you always providing the opportunity for them, and making that safe space for the kids.
It's an amazing culture. When I was first approached about this gig, I was like, not interested, but I wasn't. I have found, and still true to date, that professional sports teams are morally bankrupt. They're cold businesses. It's, not about the passion, not about the fans, not about the community. It's, filling the seats and getting the advertising dollars in. So they reserved the Coliseum for my audition, which I'm going to put on my gravestone, by the way. That was like such a rush to reserve the Coliseum. We flew Luke, had a spectacular flight, and then I met Tom and Rich. It's like, oh, these guys are different. And it felt good. It only got better. I mean, we have lost some of that connection with management through the years and the changes. And I miss that. I do. Because it kind of brought us all together, just this one single club. But I think they're going to work their way through it. There's a lot of new players, and I'm sure that's what it's about. But just last match, like at the beginning when I started this, I had the flight. I fed the Falcons, fed them where no one could see them because, they're ripping little cute quail to bits with all the body parts. Then I was able to walk around the stadium, go anywhere I wanted. I always found out where if there's something like Make-A-Wish Foundation or special needs kids, because they're my priority in life. I got 6 kids and 8 grandkids. I like kids. Try to tell everyone we're Catholic. So now, for 2020, I couldn't go anywhere, fly the birds, and go watch the game. I was like sad. Then I was watching the game going like, okay, this is not so bad. This is cool. I got to go up in the stands a couple times on 32-52. But this last match, I actually got to do my rounds again. So that is people saying that they miss that inner reaction. Mm-hmm. They do want the kids mostly. Big kids too, but mostly the kids, which is my favorite part. We're putting pressure on them. I think they still have that good heart and soul to them.
No, I agree. I think they do. I mean, I've talked to you about it, how this past year, after winning, there's been a reshuffle, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they're on the high a little too long, but definitely the need to reconnect for, I think, a lot of us. And that's expected when you win a championship. But that we're seeing signs of life, just like with you. Because we talked about that too, and going, well, what, It seems a little odd, seems a little disconnected right now. Seems like they're kind of forgetting about, the old guard in a way. But as we talked about earlier, that it's coming back, I think, because we're getting back into the string, right? We're getting back into playing, back to the football, back to the new things, and celebration time is now over. Now it's time to play, and there's a risk of losing people. There's another organization not too far away from us that have completely lost the people. Never really had them, to be honest, but have completely lost them. And, we look at that. When I look at that, some make fun of it and go, ah, ha, ha, they're in trouble. I look at it as a cautionary tale that if you lose your way, I'd say within 3 seasons, we could be that team if we don't keep it right. And I think you might agree, right? I mean, you got to be mindful.
It's the culture that made me fall in love with this club. Then I learned to see soccer because LAFC's match was the first one I ever saw. And when you come into soccer, you just see the ball going back and forth, and you don't see transitioning. You don't see passing lanes. You don't see squat. Like, what's an offsides? Then you see the beauty of the game. So it's the most important thing, in my opinion, of LAFC is the culture, the people, the community, our connection.
When we say club, we mean it. Like, we mean it. That's what it is. Also wanted to give you on-air thanks for this bad boy right here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to explain this process right here into getting these every week. You make these by hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought an embroidering machine. So the logo is embroidered. Then it's a polyethylene that you see where it's recessed in there. That one I thought was particularly meaningful for several reasons. One, it was the first time we flew in front of everybody, and my heart rate was up to 220 beats per minute. I didn't die. It was the very first match that we had Ollie fly at. Did I already say that?
We didn't mention this, actually. No, I know this. A few that I've spoken to know what this means.
So that's the lure that flew that day. On that day, also that was Ollie's birthday. She was 1 year old. And, you're the first president. So I saved it, and I always knew I was going to give it to you.
And you did. And it surprised me at a tailgate, just a little bag. Hey, this is for you. That's simple. And Jimmy got a different one for a different reason, and we were the only two to get this. And I will tell you that
you got one.
Of all the things I've received, purchased, this one probably means the most, because you know why? We got there. Out of all the work, all the years of putting this thing together, struggling with teams that weren't good enough, couldn't survive, this one did. And it did it in a way that no one else had ever done before. And this one meant that we got it all right. It got off. We got our first game off. We got our win against the Sounders. And at the time, the Sounders were the team, right? They still are the big threat for us. I think they're a real field rival, but this one kind of proved it, right? We made it happen, and it was successful. We all got it across the line. So for me, it means a whole hell of a lot more than most things I've ever received from anybody in the culture. This one here, yeah, because it was game day. It's when it became football. So Thank you, Ken, for that. It's cherished forever, for sure.
For all that, the supporters, especially at the beginning, the time, the love, and the energy and effort and the sacrifices they made, that is profoundly important. And I wanted to just give you a little something to say that's amazing. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life.
No.
Jimmy.
Every day, something different, right?
Oh, God, yeah. So remember the first time we beat Carson, or do we call him Pasadena now?
Well, I mean, in a couple months, there'll be the Pasadena Galaxy of Carson, I guess, is what they'll be. But for now, we'll just stick to Carson until they play over there.
So the first time we beat Carson, it was at home, and we kicked him out of the playoffs. That lure we flew that day, that one is Jimmy's.
Man, he earned it. I mean, he was, president at the time, on the stand. I was the organizer, right? The guy trying to make sure we didn't explode and have everything explode in our faces in the process. And that's a lot of passion all over the place. His job was to bring the passion on the field, in the stands. He was the guy that had that energy, something that I'm never going to claim to have.
You're just charming and insightful and wise.
I'm just the guy that says things that are mildly inappropriate at times to kind of bring people back to earth. Doesn't make a lot of friends sometimes with the things I say, but it was necessary, right? But Jimmy is the guy that yeah, I got the rocket, he got the land on the moon. Like that's kind of where we were with this. So, and we keep the tradition going, and it's been strong. So, thank you to Ken for reminding me of all these fun things. It's been amazing. Yes, sir.
So then, Casey, when we're at the parade with the players on the bus, I don't know if you saw when I embarrassed myself on stage. I cried. I couldn't help it. I was just overwhelmed with emotions. He was the president of 3252, so he got the Philadelphia lure when we played that game.
Nice. Maybe one day I'll put them together for a photo.
Oh man, tremendous amount of accomplishments you three men have done.
It's work.
Tremendous.
Yeah, no, it's work. We don't get paid for this. The other thing people think, oh, you got paid. We don't get paid for this. It's out of pocket, man. We lose money on this. No, it's gas money. It's everything. It's traveling to Costa Rica, right? Nobody's covering that stuff. That's us. We're sacrificing. We don't get other stuff,
Family.
Yeah, and that was the biggest for me. That's why I served only one term. It wouldn't be fair, right? My kids are of a certain age, so that at the end of the day was the biggest factor for me. Would I've wanted to do it? I mean, there was a lot of pluses and minuses. Let's be honest, it's a challenge, but yeah, the second year is the fun year, right? It's established, but no, for me, it was the right time to go. It was the right move, and it's only made us stronger to have the transitions we've had. So, yeah, for sure. So, Ken, we're gonna keep you on. I know you want to hang out with us, which is cool because I know you're gonna have a lot of cool other things to add, talking about the rivalry, the matches. We'll have a Q&A a little bit later with the supporters. So if you guys are on here, definitely jump in, ask some questions. Anything you want to ask Ken, he's on for it. He's in. The tough stuff, the easy stuff, let it happen. But we're gonna move forward here and jump into what we do best, and you're gonna get a unique perspective from Ken as we go this. He's on the field too. He's seeing this too, and he's grown with this team. So let's have at it. All right. So first things first, we're gonna jump into our recap for the game against Vancouver. And then talk a little CCL because let's be honest, the news has been massive today for us and for Philly and for everybody. So we're definitely going to jump onto that too. So let's get into it. Jumping into this match, the debate, of course, was who's going to be out there. Are we going to rest it? Are we going to play for the 0-0, move on, stay healthy? Bam. What would your answer be to that?
We went big, and we didn't want to go home. That's what we did. We went big.
Excellent, sir. You want to jump onto that roster there? Tell us who was on the field.
Yeah. So we obviously play our 4-3-3. I can't remember the last time we didn't play our 4-3-3, but we ended with McCarthy in goal, Hollingshead, Murillo, Long, and Palacios in defense, Tillman, Ilie, and Costa in the mid with Blonga, Vela, and Opoku up top.
Right. I mean, we were figuring, who's going to make it in, who's not. I know it was a shock that we didn't rotate the way we thought we would rotate. But when you're going to talk about a starting lineup and as strong as you can get, that's pretty much it, right, Araceli? Could you think of anyone else that should have been in there? I mean, this is pretty much the run, right?
No, I mean, it was definitely pretty much the run, and as you said, it was one of those games where we didn't know if they were just gonna go in for the attack or, defend, but, hey, I mean, just looking at the scoreline, it seems that 3 is, like, the magic number for LAFC right now.
3's all over the place. I guess it's a lucky number for us. Others might fear it. We don't fear it. We dig it. Yeah, 3's are the lucky numbers. And we'll get into the game. I will say this. When you look at Vancouver's roster, we were talking about who might make it in. And the big change, of course, was they had an injury at central mid. Berhalter made it in. Otherwise, it was pretty much typical for the roster, right? There wasn't much different, Bam, right? That was it.
Well, obviously they had Blackman not starting. They decided to not start him for this game, which can understand why, but it was not that much different to what they were end up doing.
No, the approach would be the same. You knew they had to chase this game. They had to leave themselves open to come back. They didn't have a choice. They couldn't play us on a counter because we're going to get suckered into that. And so that is what happened. Basically, the game happened. Things had to open up. When you open up against LAFC, it's usually all bad things, right? That is not the way you approach the LAFC lineup. Now, looking at this, let's get into the big moments. Tony, moments that stood out to you. What were the big ones, man?
Let's just keep it brief because honestly, we know why we're here. We all know why we're here.
Yep.
8th minute, Carlos Vela goal converted on the penalty kick. So anybody pretty much debating if Carlos should take the penalty kicks, there you go. 31st minute, a goal by, again, Carlos Vela. He had the brace for the day, assisted by Ilya Sanchez with a nice through ball. And the 65th minute, Sifu with a very brilliant goal that he needed for confidence. I thought it went out for a second when I was watching it from the stand, and then you see it just bounce back in, and then that's a bit. And of course, assisted by nobody else but Denis Bouanga. There's also one moment where Vela, a younger Vela, would have put it away, but unfortunately he missed it. It was like 1-on-1 with the keeper, and he should have took it that way. And we pretty much beat Vancouver 3-0, 6-0 aggregate, and move on to the next round against Philadelphia.
Well, Dolo did make the comment last game that Bouanga only scores goals and he needs to work on his assists. Lo and behold, he didn't work on the goals. He got his assist. You happy now? I got to say, it's funny. You can trade off one striker on a scoring streak, and then another one just goes crazy and nearly gets himself a hat trick. If he had taken that last shot seriously, let's be honest, if you watched it, he was like, I'm just gonna pin this one. Yeah, he messed it up because I think he already thought it was in the net. He's already thinking about the celebration, and he kind of let that go. But I have never seen a 3-0 look as easy as this one. Araceli, you were watching this. Didn't it just seem a little bit like a tune-up match? Just not much intensity in terms of concern from the other side. It's a match. No big deal.
I mean, other than that, I don't know if I want to go as far as to call it a tune-up match, but I mean, considering who they sat out for the Austin game and to watch them play in this match, I mean, like for me personally, just watching Carlos Vela and Cifuentes back into the form that we're used to watching them play was just kind of satisfying in a way, because I know for the last couple of weeks we've been kind of questioning them in terms of like their performance and how they've been doing. So getting to see Vela score that brace, and even that, I don't know if you want to call it like a trick shot for Sifu's goal, but it was just, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that is as highlight as it gets. Every week we get another one of these highlight goals, right? We're not getting the easy tap-ins. We're creating stuff that's meant for replays, right? I guess I want to go on the Sports Center. Who knows? But we'll take it. I mean, it just shows the immense skill this team has. And people were questioning Sifu last game. right? Because some of the passes were off. There was some negativity towards him. Hey, he got it this time. He shut them all up, right, Ken? I'll throw it to you, man. Thoughts?
Sifu? Really?
I know.
God, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think he got some drama because him and Butte couldn't connect last game, but obviously he found a way to silence that little conversation. And Bam, your thoughts on the match? I'll get your reactions.
It was great to have Vela and Sifu get played into form. That was really good. And I'm going to say it again. Sifu shot from outside the 18-yard. Look what happened. You know, he set it up perfectly for himself. He dragged it back outside the 18, curled it in. We've got to keep doing that. If you're open and you can have a shot, take a shot. Look what happens.
Exactly. They got to do something special. And I think he's challenged to do it as well, because if anybody was at warm-ups for this match and the tune-up, Tillman was hitting the ball so clean. I've rarely seen a guy hit the ball as well as this guy does from his position. We have some ballers on this team. And you got to do something spectacular to stay on. I think that's where we're at now. It's cool. Tony, final thoughts on this one before we move on to the news about CCL, because I think that's the bigger story.
Actually, I was kind of curious what you thought of her defense.
Honestly, it's growing. It's getting stronger every week. I'm not too worried. They seem solid. Again, it's nothing glaring. Turnovers aren't really a thing at the moment. We're doing good at closing down players on the outside. Crosses are minimized, all things we complained about for years. They seem to be addressing those exact concerns we have right now. So I'm feeling comfortable. And I keep saying every time I see Murillo play, he looks like a different player this year. The confidence level, his ability to speak to the public, which, he kind of avoided in the early days. No, he's taking a leadership role, and he looks good. And that's the guy I was always most concerned about, right? Because he had his moments. Is if Murillo is comfortable, I'm comfortable, right? If our center backs are comfortable, I'm good. We have a collection of players now at center back that I have confidence in each one of them to do the job. So for me, my impressions on the defense is this is the strongest one we've ever had. Yeah. It feels as locked down as what Philly can do at games at this point.
Wow.
That's where my head's at. Yeah. I'm happy.
Praise.
Yeah, no, I mean that's who's chasing us. That's who we're staring down, and now we'll talk about that. You have to be on their level defensively. This is what it's going to take now. If you're going to be a double winner, like if this is what we're really going for, that's where you have to start from. That's where our weaknesses were. And here we are. All right. So looking at that, knowing who we have to play, of course, Philadelphia Union. I'll throw this to you, Bam. How did they get here? What did they do to get to play us in the next round?
They were lucky enough to score away at Atlas. That was a big thing for them. Being able to score while away at Atlas, which is quite big. They ended up going on over the 2 legs, winning 3-2 over the 2 legs. The only team to go into the next round without scoring 6 goals. So looking at that, to get to beat us, you got to be scoring a lot of goals because we're averaging 6 this round, 4 the round before. They went 4 the first round and only 3 this round. So,
it's going to be a shootout. They have to be prepared for that. Yes. Now, here's the cool things, guys. The schedule is already out, and somehow, some way, due to tiebreakers, we'll be playing Philly at home for the second leg. That's right. And the date's already out. So get ready. Get your PTO if you can. First match, Tuesday, April 25th in Philadelphia. Good luck to those who are going to get their airfares to make that happen. Now, May 2nd will be the return leg. Yeah, a couple Tuesdays here. At home, I'll be getting my PTO in order. Yes, they'll be playing at home. Now, do we know the game times yet? No, that's got to get figured out. But you definitely figure it's going to be closer to 7:30 to 7:15, somewhere around there. That seems to be the norm. Local times, right? So we'll keep you up to date. Now, If we get through, Bam, who would we potentially be playing? Because this is very intriguing.
Yeah, so after their win today, either be Lyon or Tigres. So Tigres had a nice little win today. They ended up winning 6-0 overall the two games, and Lyon ended up winning 6-2 over their two games.
Now, can you enlighten the folks? What kind of history do we have with those two teams?
We have a little bit of history. We're obviously playing Lyon and seeing the videos and all that kind of stuff from away in Lyon was amazing. And I don't want to play them next. I'd rather play Tigres. I think Tigres would be a much better win.
And would that be a bit of a redemption battle as well?
Definitely a redemption battle for that one.
Yeah. So basically, we're playing teams that, in all cases, whoever we're going to play from this round forward, we have history, right? There's a challenge in front of us, a real one. And there are some familiar faces we're going to have to deal with, which honestly, I kind of dig it. It's like a movie. Again, the Hollywood ending, right? Redemption could be the story. Right. It always has to be this way. Ken knows it's always got to be drama with us. So if we make it to the final, not going to say win. We're playing Philly. Sorry, this is tough. They got to get it right. They're better than the last time we played them. I know they don't look like that in the standings yet. Trust me, that same team still exists. They're just getting it together. Finals will be, here we go, May 31st will be the first leg. Second leg, June 4th. That's what it's listing so far. So if you're asking yourself, isn't there a problem with that schedule? There's a massive problem with that schedule. May 31st, we play against St. Louis at home. And I believe June 4th, we're supposed to travel to Atlanta, right, ma'am?
June 3rd, Atlanta comes to us.
Okay. So in both cases, we have a conflict of schedule. They can't play that close together. Obviously, those are going to have to move, or they're going to have to move the times of CCL. A little confusing there. Nice thing is June 4th is a Sunday, and it looks like, if I'm seeing it right by tiebreakers, right now, we would be the host for the second leg. Was I seeing that right, Bam?
I believe that is correct, going by the rules and regulations that the tiebreakers mean that we'll be hosting the second leg, which means that hopefully we host second leg all through the lot. So lifting all trophies with us would be great.
Everything is playing into our hands. We just have to get the job done. It rests on the players because they're going to have the 32-52 in every one of these matches. Big every time. Traveling to Leon, we've done this. Traveling to Monterrey, we've not done that yet. But that's an easy one to get to. Let's be honest. It won't be that expensive either. It's a popular city. So yeah, we'll be traveling in numbers no matter what happens. We just got to get through Philly first. And I've been to Philly. I dig visiting Philly. The food is good. Araceli, you know a little bit about visiting Philly, right?
I do. I was just there in January.
Not a bad town to visit, right?
Mm-mm.
Food was good.
Oh yeah.
Sites
I'm definitely missing
historic.
those cheesesteaks.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So definitely go if you can, guys. Go if you can.
My question is Scarf going to drive to Philly this time like he did to Vancouver?
I'm thinking no. But could you imagine those two, Philly and Scarf, on a Defenders of the Bank driving road trip to the East Coast?
If they do, they better stop in KC to say hi. That's all I'm going to say.
Another good meal. That's all I'm saying. You got to stop in KC. I have other routes. Oklahoma City ain't so bad either. I've been there. But stop in KC. It's worth it. I've been there a few times. All right. So that's our schedule, guys. I mean, we have the potential to go to the final. We have the potential to have all the advantage in our favor at this moment where we host the second leg. It's there for the taking. It's up to our squad to get the job done. But if you could draw anything better, That's a hard one, man. This is exactly what I think we wanted. Yes, I know a lot wanted to go to play Atlas, want to go to Guadalajara for the history. I'll tell you right now, forget that. Would have been fun, but I'd rather take my odds, right? Odds are you're better off playing domestic anyway. So there it is. There it is. Definitely, guys, throw it out there. Give us your heads up as to what you think. And I think, are we ready, guys, for reactions? Anybody else want to add into the schedule before I throw it out to everybody else and get some Q&A going? Game on. Here we go. All right, guys, definitely jump on here. Tell us what you think. Everything is in bounds this time. I'm in a mood. So if somebody wants to talk wise, go for it, especially you Carson fans. We'll have fun with you today. That's for sure. That's right. Join it. Make it happen. Let's get your reactions, guys. Here we go. First comments. Of course, tradition is whoever's on gets the love. It's Jibble is the man. Puts the yo out there. Daniel Angel. Jacob's in the mix. We got Ox out of Wichita, staying up late for us tonight. It's Jibble says, so excited for this episode, feeling good, right? We've got tradition here. We've got the originals in the mix. It's a good one. It's a good one. Daniel Angel says, my favorite picture I took at MLS Cup was of Ken, Pat, and Jimmy. Those guys make everything happen behind the scenes and without due appreciation. Much love to the Falcons and the Falconer. There you go. Everybody, look at that.
Thank you.
You got, dude, Ken. I'm gonna give you the floor for a second. You want to react? Go for it, man.
I'm shocked to see it. I didn't expect that. Thank you.
For the first time ever, you got Ken. Like, what? Yeah, you're gonna see Ken here. You have a lot of love coming in, and you've earned that, dude. Know this, okay? We got Burke in the mix. LOL man trash can. I know he has the funniest name ever. Daniel Angel says Ollie isn't a mascot. Ollie is a club legend. Build the statue now.
Yes, that's what I've been telling him.
I think we're due for a better tifo with Ollie. I mean, we had wings. We had Death from Above. Remember, that was one of my babies right there.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was one of my fun designs. Yeah, that was my baby. But there got to be something better. That was pretty low tech. We did a lot of work, but it's low tech. Let's see. It's Jibble says a win against Carson this weekend, along with the Philadelphia and Tigres, would be the perfect end before the summer window changes. And then comes Open Cup. Just saying, for fun, more fun, right?
So how many matches are the guys going to play this season? If we go all
around 60, if we can get the finals everywhere. I don't know how they're physically going to do that, but yeah, if we try to make the run across the board, it would be about 60 games.
Wow, yeah. we need more players.
I agree. I mean, it's nice to get this young kid Bogusz coming in, but we need more. Agreed. Stephen Dilt says aloha from Hawaii. Happy belated birthday to Araceli. To put it bluntly, the boys this weekend need to put their heads down and get in and do their job and get out. Right? And those few of us that are there, I think it's going to be more than a few of us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, we need to do this. Stephen Dill says Carson is beneath us. The stats prove that. It's just a fact. But when you have a dog backed into a corner, it will bite. Yeah, nothing scarier than a wounded animal. I'm with you on this. They have everything to play for. This is how it's come, what it's come to. We define ourselves by our culture, our community, and trying to push things ahead to win things no one's won before. Right? They define themselves on whether they can beat us every week. Their winning record against us that's already tainted. That's that. So it's really a big, of course, and of their history.
Oh God! Every Galaxy fan I meet, when you have 5, you can call me. Okay, like that is like a fixed line they tell everyone to say. You don't have anything intelligent to comment on.
That's what they've been fed, spoon fed, and now they're mad because they're stuck in this. They created the problem. I don't feel sorry for them. They should have demanded more earlier. Too little, too late. You got stuck in your ways and kept calling us Chivas, even though we ain't Chivas. and you lost your own club in the process. So good on them.
What does Chivas mean?
Yeah, they're talking about Chivas USA, the former club that used to play in Carson as well.
The team.
Yeah, the failed side. So they like to say that we're them because we do have a lot of fans that crossed over. And of course, why would they ever go bother with the fans they have? But that's why they say that. It's trying to get people divided, which doesn't work because it's failed. As they hire Chivas people left and right. But we could talk all day about that. Let's see. Stephen Dale says Carson not having any wins will be there for Sunday, frothing for a win, especially in their house against their biggest rivals. So here's the deal. They have their worst record since 1997, which was the second year of league existence. Okay. Right now, they have that. I believe if they lose to us, then it becomes the worst season to start ever. So we could
for the league.
For themselves, right? Because they have a history of success. We know this. So it would be their worst start basically ever if we beat them. History making for very different reasons. Dig that. So that could be happening. Let's see here. We've got Dilt says boys can't be stops. Okay, that's good. Let me move on to the next one. Okay. Having some technical stuff, guys. Sorry about that. There we go. Handing out 3-0s like candy. Dig that. I'm getting weird stuff. You guys seeing this? There it goes. It cleared. Yeah, I got some stuff to come over my page. It was odd. All right, back to it. LAFC Wolves, good evening, Black and Gold family. He's in the mix. He says he's so happy Sifu got his goal. Seen him try so hard, blowing a hat trick, knocking in a header, and he missed, but I seen him put 100% effort. LFG Sifu. There we go. Wolf is rooting for the Tigres matchup. Not rooting for the Tigres. Yes, Bam? You said something? I heard you.
That's all good. All good.
All right, cool, man. Let's see. Juan says that Ken's playing a very intense game of solitaire on his iMac right now. Hey, man, this is his first podcast. I know he's like us. It's new, and we never go 5 wide, right? So this is pretty cool too. Jose Bernal says just got out of work, dude. He's on here every week. Good to see you on here. He says his second leg. Okay, Daniel has a second leg semi-return for Philly, guaranteed to be May 2nd. I don't think it's a guarantee. It's just a tentative date. I'll put it at that. It's listed as the date. I would think they would prefer it for TV reasons, but you know how CCL is. It's either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. They don't, I don't see them doing Thursday like they did in the first rounds, but Tuesday, Wednesday, and of course you can't conflict with the other semi. So semi-locked, I guess you could say. We'll see what happens because of the St. Louis situation, right?
Going by what's on FootMob at the moment, the first game is Wednesday, April 26th away, and then we're playing at home Wednesday, May 3rd.
It's pushing to 3rd now?
Yep. And it's
2 different sources, 2 different times. That's awesome.
Yep. It's also 6 a.m. kickoff for me for those games, so that will make it.
I'm not playing solid.
He's got the
one.
notes.
Yeah,
yes,
so that will make it, I think, 1 p.m. local time. So that might be to change.
Yeah, that's not going to stay either.
No.
These are tentative dates, guys. Could be the 2nd, could be the 3rd. We're not sure yet. We just know it's one of those 3 days: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm betting it's Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see. But yeah, I've got one source saying that is a tentative, and he's got another saying another date. So just keep your days open, I guess. Times are not specific either on my end, so we'll keep you posted as we lead into this thing. I bet you by tomorrow it'll be official. You know how things operate. Let's see. Jose Bernal's predicting the game 3-1 against Carson. Jose Bernal, Philly 1-1 against LAFC. That's some time down the line, though, guys. Miguel Campos laughing. Wolf laughing. We are not Chivas. We are Los Angeles. Pasadena and Carson's daddy. There you are. We'll get into that more. I like Carlos C's point. Good point. They continue to make fun of us, yet they just hired Will Cooper to try and copy what we do, and they sign our former players. And yes, we can definitely have fun with that guy too. But we got more to cover, and we will go into a little bit in depth in a few minutes. Smalls also beat those bums on Sunday. So there are our comments for now. Guys, keep throwing them in there. We're going to come back to you towards the end of episode as well. Again, always love what you guys bring to the mix. Keep it going. All right. Of course, after we get through reactions, you know what we do. That's right. Club and community news. Tony, you are on. You are on, sir. Let's go for it, man.
So not much club and community news, but the major three that we have, of course. The first one is if you can't make it to the game, because it's very not hard, I guess, since you probably get a ticket if you're not coming with us to 3252. There is a watch party at Progress Brewery that starts at 12 p.m. Kickoff starts at 1:30 p.m. Food is by El Charo Barbacoa. Barbacoa, thank you. And the address is 9624 El Poche Street, South El Monte, California 91733. Moving on with that, of course, we have the Mo Facio futsal court that still needs your donations to be built. Whatever you can donate, it's just $1, $20, $100, whatever you can afford. You know what I mean? Sometimes life is tough, but we need to build this in order to honor our fallen friend. And then, of course, the most important one, and the one that helps us in the 3252 with the tifos, the drums, the flags, is your 3252 membership. Sign up. It also helps your SGs get made official and keep official into the 3252. There are two different tiers. The tier that Joseph has is the bucket hat, lanyard, pin, and scarf, which is about $60 altogether. And then there is a tier below that, which is the scarf and pin, and which is $30 altogether. So make sure if you haven't sign up to get some cool swag and also help 3252 out with the cool tifos that we do for you guys, the cool sound with the drums that we do for you guys, and everything moving forward.
I might as well throw that flag or the scarf into the mix. So there's the scarf right here. Pretty cool, reversible. Get your gold, get your black, get your gray. The biggest thing is that star in the middle. I think the way they set that up is just ideal. Looking at the numbers, it fit perfectly. So good on everybody who designed this. You guys rock. Our design team, our merch crew, putting in the overtime. I tell you, remember, these things are all packed by our own people. Like we're not paying somebody to pack these for us. We do it ourselves, putting in crazy man hours. That way we can do even more tifo, right? Save a little bit of dough. Good on them. Definitely join it. We need it, especially right now as we have 60 possible games. There's going to be some tifo opportunities that aren't your typical tifo, because when we normally do them, you're going to need more, right? Bigger games require it. So we need all the help we can get to make it happen. So do it, guys. Do it. Definitely jump in and make it happen. All right. So with that, community news is all set. Let's move on to an LAFC update from Araceli. What do we got going on, Araceli?
I mean, there's really not much going on in terms of any recent updates, but the LAFC 2 will be back on the road this weekend on Sunday at 5 o'clock Pacific time. They'll be traveling to Houston to face the Houston Dynamo 2. Again, timing-wise is a little tricky considering when LAFC's game is. So if you're unable to go to the match, I mean, it's something to watch after the game. It will be on Apple TV, or if you're just simply stuck in traffic and need something to do, highly recommend tuning in.
Or stuck in a holding area post game with 3252, and you just happen to have your phone with you. You might watch it to pass the time after this game is done. Though I have a feeling we're going to be much busier doing other things post game, because you got to escape that place. I'm just saying it's a process to get out of there. So poor kids going to Houston, man, especially with this big game. You would have thought somehow, some way they would have figured out a way to have us, the A's and the B's, play each other, right? Like basically 2 rivalry matches back to back or something like that. But no, we're going to Houston. It's kind of a downer, to be honest. But that is what it is. And then again, those players can't even be in town no matter what the result to celebrate or give some hugs no matter what the result is. Kind of tough for the guys that have to travel out. That's for sure. Thank you, Araceli, for the update on LAFC 2. We're going to jump right into the Black and Gold Vinyl Club minute. Yeah, that's right. We're speeding through this. You know why? We want to talk about the game. All right. So I'm actually going to hijack the Black and Gold Vinyl Club minute. I went to an amazing concert last night. I still can't hear anything out of my right ear except for ringing because I went to go see the Will of the People tour with Muse, and that was amazing. And my other favorite band, Highly Suspect, was the opening act. I just got lucky on that one. So I had a great time at the show. But if you ever listen to Muse, it's all about the good guys fighting the bad guys, and the old school authority that gets in the way of all good things. Feels like an LAFC fan dealing with Carson. The vibe is there. But basically, I'm going to go with Will of the People for the album this week, their latest one. Song choice, I don't know, it's controversial, but I think it's real when it comes to rivalry. Kill or Be Killed is the song that I'm choosing for the song of the day within the album of the day, because that's how rivalries work. Kill or Be Killed, make it happen, get it done. So there's my thoughts. Bam, you look like you want to jump in and say something, man. Go for it, dude.
Yeah, it is a good one, but I think the one I had lined up might have been a little bit better, but I'm going to save that for next week, depending on what happens with the game this weekend.
There we go. And then you're like, everybody's looking at me going, wait, but you had to pick a Carson like song. I didn't. Instead, I picked a band that was from far, far away, just like Carson, but spends their summers in Los Angeles. So there you go. There you go. All right. Transitioning. That's right. We're moving on. You know what we're going to talk about now. It's that one you've all been waiting for. LAC versus Carson preview. We are in the mix. It is happening. It is live. Jump on, guys. Throw your reactions as we're doing this. You know the questions are going to come up, so let's do this. Sunday, 1:30 p.m. kickoff time. That's right, April 16th. We have the Carson Galaxy versus the Los Angeles Football Club, live from the Dignity Health Sports Park at Cal State Dominguez Hills in Carson, California. That's what's happening. It's on, it's in. Of course, before we can talk about the match, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. We're not going to avoid it. We're going to go right into it. Is this dunking on our opponent? Possibly, but it does have an effect on the game, a massive effect for them psychologically, for us as well, as we're watching this dumpster fire occur. Some people are getting a little too comfortable as they're watching them struggle with themselves right now. Don't get comfortable. We have no winning record there. We haven't won there. So this is real. This is why we say we have unfinished business. We have unfinished business. We have never beaten them there. That's the one thing they can always throw in our face. Okay. This is real. You can't mess around with this. So that being said, this is what's happening off the field. And the most recent thing that we've seen. Their fans are protesting due to the culture of the club deteriorating in terms of their view of their side. Okay. Championships aren't happening anymore. The records are getting worse every year. Yes, they did make the playoffs, but is that the level they want to be at? No. And at every turn of the corner, when it comes time for the big game to make the big advancement, who do they run into? Us. Okay. And we've been ending their seasons. That doesn't feel good either, that the upstart is the one now taking it. Yes, they still have a minor winning record. We'll talk about that. But for them, what they expect from their club, it's been a very, very long time. And so for them, the direction is wrong. All eyes have gone towards Chris Klein and his crew. Why? Well, they got busted for a scandal. Signing a player, claiming they weren't a DP when they really were, to fudge the rosters and stay competitive with a recently expanded side. That's pretty sad, I'd say. And so demands are there. And so the fans decided to walk. They're not getting heard. They walked. You would expect a little bit more from Carson. Instead, the rumors we're hearing is they've gone to the point where they're looking to replace their supporters, that they've had meetings and whatever, and it hasn't gone anywhere. And so now they've gone full circle, and Victoria Block, the one thing that they wanted to celebrate to kind of combat us, is now a thorn in their side. And that's how they're seeing it. Rather than people to work with, their problem. And so rather than embracing their supporters or finding a way, they've looked to hire a PR guy to go with branding, who did the architect. He was the architect of the Commanders rebrand. Not saying that they're going to rebrand, but he's definitely there to try to change the look or feel of the club and win people back. So in other words, they threw money at some random dude rather than focus on the structural issues of their club. That is what's happening on the outside. Now, on the inside, in the stands, we're hearing that fans are kind of being forced to attend this match, or they're going to lose their season tickets. That's the rumors that are out there. Not saying it's true, but that's the rumors that are floating around. Not a healthy rumor to float around. Their supporters have held firm and not gone to the game. The active support does not exist. It sounds like a library, and I'm not talking smack. It literally does. It's a sad state of affairs for their side, and it's getting worse by the day. So that's the elephant in the room going into this season. Hasn't gone well. Every step of the way where they could have smoothed things over, done the right thing, made the right moves, they have done the exact opposite, including a really oddly written letter by Klein himself that made it look like he was resigning. And then at the end, it's like, well, I'll resign if we fail this year. That's not what they were. He should have stayed quiet. I mean, again, making it worse again and again and again. Bam, do you want to throw on this? Throw some fuel onto this fire? Because that's the situation I'm seeing.
What's happening over there at the moment is absolutely beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love everything that's going on over there. For the club come out and saying you don't show up, we're going to cancel your season tickets. That's fine. There's 5 people with season tickets, so easy to get back on the wait list for that. Chris Klein, although your fans hate you, I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. You're making them a better team by being there. So keep being there, keep doing that, and I hope you get another contract extension by the end of the year because you deserve it. Having to put up with all that bullshit from your fans.
He needs a bonus. Man needs a bonus. Maybe a promotion even further. Something. Give him an exec position with age. Something huge, man. The man has done so much for this organization.
Give him ownership stakes. Just give him some ownership stakes. Plain and simple. AEG. Give him some shares in your group. Make him a part owner because everything he's done to have to deal with some of those bullshit fans that since '96. Good on you. You've been there for a long time. Keep up doing. Beautiful. You're doing great work,
man. See, there it is. Araceli, I don't think you want to dunk, but any impressions?
I mean, it's really more of a cautionary tale of anything. As we all know, Chris Klein obviously has his connections here to KC. So anytime I hear it being a dumpster fire and the connection to him, it's a weird feeling, I have to admit. But I mean, things are definitely interesting. I'll just kind of leave it at that because although we are talking about Carson, I do want to point out very quickly that something very similar is starting to brew over here in KC with the status of SKC and kind of the ownership group that now there's being calls for boycotting and protesting, which fans have never done. So we could see a similar situation over here pretty soon. Who knows?
Which would be sad because I really dig Peter Vermees and all that he has done for them. But yeah, I get the disconnect at this point. It's a long time in office, you could say. It's rough. And again, there has to be a cycle. There has to be movement. And if it gets stale, welcome to this world. Tough times, that's for sure. Tony, Thoughts, man?
Don't care.
All that
They
matters
can-
is the football. Is that what you're saying?
All that matters is the football. All that matters is our team. And yes, like I do want our rivals to be good, so it becomes a good rivalry, and when we face each other, it's historic. But throughout histories of any rivalry, it's stuff like this happens. But to say they had culture is honestly a slap to culture. You know what I mean? Like I remember, like I said, I watched the MLS grow since '96, and been to many Carson games. Never supported Carson, went to them, and it was always just a snooze fest. It wasn't something that draws me, and there's a reason why I'm with LAFC, because that's the culture that drew me here, and what wanted me to do what I'm doing now. Over there is just, oh, we should do this because this is cool, and then you have fighting supporters where they don't want to unite, and that's kind of another thing. And then you name a supporter group after one of the worst things that happened in LA history. Kind of not the greatest thing in the world either.
Not once, twice, in LA history. Yeah, again, tone deaf supporters. I don't know. It's all over the place at this point. I'm not going to say I feel for them, because I remember a long time ago how they treated other Cubs struggling. I think relocate was a common term that they like to laugh about. Guess what? You're facing it now, people. You even brought in a rebranding guy into your organization. So have fun with that and rest on your laurels. Ken, you want to have any fun with this one, or just kind of remind people of what it can be?
Well, we all know it can be, and it's pretty damn heavenly, if you ask me. I'm curious what you guys think, because they're playing us. They hate us more than overcooked spinach. I mean, do they think the fans are going to show up for this, or are they going to hold true to their guns? This is a real test of their will.
I think some will show, but not in an organized fashion, right? I think there'll be an attempt to sing at times. I think it'll be kind of half-assed, you could say, because if they're holding to their guns, they should hold to their guns. This is that one moment where it could be the best thing to happen to them would be the outright destruction on the field and an embarrassment off of it, just to wake some people up. Even league office would get a good wake-up call here, because they've been sitting on their hands throughout this, which is surprising from them, because usually they don't. Yeah, I mean, I think that would do the best. So what hurts the most in the short term might be the best for them in the long term. That's where I think it's at. So I think the seasoned supporters will stay away. They'll be smart about it and stay away. But the younger ones will probably fall for it and jump on because they don't want to lose things. I think it'll be a mixed bag is what we'll see. Will I see a ton of black shirts everywhere, or even green, because we like to wear green all the time too? Yeah, I think it's going to turn into a home game for us, no matter what they do, because of how organized we are.
Unified and organized. You are.
Exactly.
See, what I would like to see, I think that if, heaven forbid, this was happening to us, what I think the supporters should do, rock up, go into the VB, stand there silent for 10 minutes. From the 10th to the 15-minute mark, chant your hearts out, then walk out of the stadium.
Whoa.
At the 15-minute mark.
Whoa, would that be powerful?
That is what kind of happened here in Australia with the A-League announcing that all finals will be played in Sydney. The grand final will be played in Sydney for the next few years. Fans didn't like that, so they rocked up to the match. For the first 20 minutes sung, 21st minute, walked out to show what they are missing. So if that was smart, and the leaders over there were smart, which we all know they aren't always the brightest bunch,
yeah,
do that. Show the FO. This is what you got. This is what you're losing if certain people stay around.
Yeah, I think he's right. I mean, it would be ripe for protest, not staying away, but I can't see it. I can't. They're just not. there's too many groups with too many separate interests. It's unlike the 32-52 where we're very much united in the front and we think things through and work things out and everything's a long-term kind of vibe. We've had our moments, trust
Yeah.
me, but
But
at the end of the day, we know the end game, and that we've
But
always known the end
could-
game. I don't
could you
think they're
guys imagine 32nd minute, the 32-52 walking out of the stadium?
I would say that they would under these circumstances.
Yeah.
We're not the silent treatment type, you know.
But
Like, we're not.
what impact do you reckon that would have on the club? Not only that, but the league as well. The league would look more into what's happening at the club, I'd say.
Well,
that's simple.
we've already done it.
Yeah.
Last year we went silent for a game for a period of time because we were unhappy with the level of performance, the level of focus from our side. And so we did it once already. Where are we now? I'm not saying that protest did it, but we showed back then that we wouldn't hold back. Like, again, we're not the silent treatment type. We were there. You saw our faces. It was more telling you how it is, right? It says a lot more, making a scene, you could say, than simply just not showing up. Right? Say your piece, and then if you want to walk away, it's much more dramatic than just not being there.
I think if they were to come in for 15 minutes and walk out, that would be profound reverberations throughout MLS. I never thought of anything like that, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, holy crap. I'd probably be on NBC News.
These guys know some history with me and dealing with another dysfunctional club. Yeah, I kind of set up a plane over the stadium, but that was fun too. Very long time ago, that actually insulted the owner. Yeah, another terrible organization that used to play there. But I remember it had an LED board below the plane, and it insulted the current owner of that team on the plane, scrolling across, and that was fun to set up. But again, to me, support culture is you do stuff, but to them, it's boycott. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of days in. We'll see what they do. But what I do know is that's their problem, not ours. It's not our job to fix their problems because they ain't gonna listen to us anyway. But what we can do is we can win the football match, and that's really what matters the most. And 32-52 is going to show up in force. And those in the 32-52, they got to be in the 32-52 section. Will find a way into this stadium, and we will make it a home game. And I know that's going to happen. I expect that to happen. I don't expect anything less. That our folks are going to go in there and take advantage of the situation, give our boys a home field advantage, and hopefully make history. And I think that's where we can leave it with these guys. So let's get into it. Tony, head to head, how have things been between the both sides?
Head to head, there is a very big asterisk with two games because of Carson using their same tactics they always do, but finally being punished. And those two games were the scandal, which is what happened with Klein, which they seem to forget that they've had these two wins and brought in Zlatan and Pavon. But if we want to count it overall, they have 7 wins, 5 draws, and 5 losses against us. So we have 5 wins against us. We've beaten them twice in the playoffs, but the biggest factor, of course, is we've never beaten them at Dignity Sports Park or whatever it's called.
And they did eliminate us from the Open Cup when we were playing there. So that big obstacle still exists. It's that's the rivalry. It's real talk. We're not going to sugarcoat it. Yeah, they've got our number there. It's that simple. And we haven't played to our level. This is their chance to do so. And if you were looking at the last 5 games, looking at the season so far, Tony, I think that kind of shows it right there. The last 2 wins we had were pretty epic. Right? Take them out of the playoffs, but
yeah, it's like I said, we're 2 different clubs going in 2 different directions. We're 4 wins, 2 draws, undefeated. One of the only 2 teams left undefeated, while they're one of the only 2 teams that hasn't won one at 0 wins, 3 draws, and 3 losses. So as much as we want to per se of their trajectory, the context of moving forward with their context of the team and the context of the players and the context of the FO. If you don't understand this, there's an interview about context in general about that. Is they're not producing, they don't have a product on the team, and they're going honestly MLS 2.0, which is bringing a big name and you can win everything and not have to worry about depth, not have to worry about tactics, strategy, momentum, or anything. So that's how it is.
Right. Look for the next Zlatan, right? Try to save your day. Of course, Will Kuntz came in. Again, they're taking from us, I guess. They want our vibe. He's going in there promising they're not going to focus on the old DP, which that's what they've been spoon-fed for, well, since 96, is to have the big names, right? At least until Beckham came around. That's a sea change for them. Stars to be rather than stars on their way out would be very different. I don't know how much of an appetite they have for that. I think they want to solve their problems and also have the stars. So that'd be an interesting growth for them. Now, last 5 games, do you want to rattle these guys off for these guys? Tony?
I was saying, I think Ken had something to say about.
Oh yeah, Ken, go for it. Go for
it. I'll save it at an appropriate time.
Okay.
You got it. You got it.
So,
all right, Tony.
So from like the form for the last 5 games and moving forward, it's lost to Houston 3-0 with 2 major players gone out, the Juventus players they brought in, over stupid yellow cards. And then, of course, draws and draws moving forward. And then us on a winning streak. Yes, we do have that 1 loss in CCL, but really in league-wise, we're undefeated. And yeah, pretty much that's about it. If we, again, key players that we have to talk about is Bouanga and Vela for us. And them, it's Jovic and Alvarez, with Chicharito also coming back for this game.
Yeah, I mean, tough times for them. They're averaging 0.5 goals a game. Again, not their way. Their leading scorer is Jovic with 1 goal, and only 3 guys in the team have scored: him, Leerdam, and Neal, which I believe both those guys are defenders. Yeah, it's pretty tough. Yes, Chicharito should fix things for them a bit. But again, their assist men, same story. 1. You know, it's just, yeah. So if you look at leading scorer, would technically be Leerdam has a goal and assist. It's like their season hasn't started yet. I know, and he's a cast off from Seattle, and then before, I guess he went, yeah. So I mean, not good times for them. That's for sure. The wounded animal effect is here. They're in desperate times. They have to get a win. They have to get a win against us. Anything else is unacceptable. There's no way they can play for a tie in this, even though that might technically, but what they'll need to do. But their fans are expecting a very different story. Yes, ma'am.
The 3-2 win against Carson last year in July, and the 1-1 draw in Carson in October 2021. And this game, what do they have in common?
What do they have in common?
The day ends with a Y.
Armando Villarreal will be in the center pitch for this game. He was in the center pitch for those 2 games as well.
Wait, so games where we got results against them, we have a referee.
Yep, we have the same ref.
So they haven't given them a homer ref like they usually do?
Nope. Out of all the games that he has done, he has a 41.2% win, 35.3% loss, and 23.5% draw for Carson, averaging 1.47 points per game. For us, it's a 53.8% win, 15.4% loss, and 30.8% draw, with an average of 1.92 points per game with him as a referee.
Does he tend to keep the game cleaner? Do you let him play on, or what's his style?
He averages 23.7 fouls per game with 3.39 yellows and 0.16 reds.
Is that high?
Kind of low,
It's
actually.
kind of low. He likes to let the game flow, so that's good. Our game where we beat them 3-2 last year at home, we had 4 yellows. They had 1 yellow, and in the 1-1 draw, sorry, they had 4 yellows. We had 1, and in the 1-1 draw, they had 3 yellows. We had 2. So he likes to keep the flow going, which is good.
Interesting. In terms of penalties, what's his rate on penalties?
Penalties, he doesn't like giving many.
Okay.
Going through it all, penalties. Yeah, he doesn't give many penalties out of all of them.
Okay, so here's something that people need to be very, very aware of when you play against this team. Last year, they got a record they tied the record with Atlanta for most penalties awarded in a season to get into the playoffs. That's the truth. I'm not playing games. They really did tie the all-time MLS record for penalties awarded. They failed to convert on many of them, thanks to Chicharito. But this is the truth of it. Now, this season, they haven't gotten the penalties they thought they should get. In the last 2 games, I mean, ridiculous protests over penalties. Ridiculous. The press conference where Vanny lost it, screaming about handballs against Seattle. I will be real with you guys. There is a tactic with this team, and this isn't tinfoil hat. Watch when they do crosses. If it's late in the game, they go high body on the defender. You have to be extremely careful as a defender against this team because they will fire it into your upper body. I've seen them do it, and it works. You get a call for that, right? If a guy's got his hand in an unnatural position, it works. You'll probably get a call for it. Last year they would get those calls. This year they're not getting them as much at all, really. And so it's an old school tactic when things aren't going well that you try to manufacture something, right? Get a penalty call, get a foul at the top of the box. Make a hard decision for the referee. They've already resorted to that this early in the year. It's desperation time for them. So expect in this game a lot of questionable stuff because they have to grind a way through. Our guys have to be extra careful in this game. They've been lobbying for penalties continually this year. Woe is me, the victim play all the way through. And in this match, you're definitely going to be looking for stuff. They're going to be looking for calls. That's what they do. Will they get them? They haven't so far, but it is reality that you need to be very aware of a team that's this desperate. They're going to look for any edge they possibly can, and that's one of them is get the whistle. Get out of jail free card with an easy whistle. So it's real. It's real. All right, looking through as well, anything else we want to throw out there? I will say this, there's a few other fun facts. Carlos Vela, of course, has scored 10 goals and 11 career appearances against the Galaxy. But I guess the last 2, he didn't have any. Am I reading that correct? Now that he's got a brace in the lead up, I'd feel good about that.
Yes.
Right? Both of your main strikers are coming off of multi-goal games. It's kind of a good vibe to have going into this. Same thing, and I think we need to talk about this too. Is defending, okay, guys? We've played how many games so far this year? At least in league matches. You want to just stick with league matches? Was it 6 games? How many goals have we let in so far? 3. Okay, we're LAFC averaging half a goal against. I'm sorry, that's not normal for us, right? We tend to go back and forth. This is a much different vibe. For them, they've allowed 9. So in the same amount of time. The stats are real. We could talk about goal difference again. They're not producing, so that's there. But it is a very interesting thing where we're looking at the defensively sound side. Even more, that's the bigger story than the offense, even though the offense has been beautiful. Defensively, we've been pretty darn sound. Araceli, looking into the facts going into this game, what are your thoughts?
as always, I'm just kind of looking at the matchup. Never underestimate them, even though it looks like everything is leaning towards our side, stat wise, even with the ref. But it's like I said in the past, you just can't underestimate it because you truly never really know. Obviously, I want a good result for LAFC, but I mean, we'll just have to see.
We've never won there. That's the stat. That's the stat. We've never got a win in that place. That's the real talk. Until you've done it, you haven't. Simple. You failed at something. This is the one failure we have on our record is we haven't got one in their house. It's their talking point. As they should. As they should. So it's our job to change that this weekend. We have to go for the win. And you're like, well, no, we have to go for the win. Kill or be killed, as we said with the song. This is your chance. If there's ever a time, this is the one. All right, looking at, their lineup and what they're going to do, there are some missing key players, and I'll throw this over to Bam. Both sides have some interesting updates in terms of roster. Go for it, man.
So for Carson, Bond's out with a shoulder still. And obviously Caceres and Costa are both out with red cards. Caceres with a stupid second yellow, which in theory, if you go by what he's done, he should have received 4 yellows for 1, leaving the field of play without permission, 2, going to the VAR, 3, touching the ref, and yeah, so he should be up to 4 yellows. So it should be multiple weeks out for him. And then Costa deciding, I don't want to play LAFC this week, and dragging the Houston player to the ground with a horse collar.
That was a horse collar, wasn't it? Oh my gosh.
It was. For us, going by outside fans, obviously Max is still out. Tony Leone is out with the right leg, and Torres is out with the right leg.
Which I could swear in warm-ups last time Christian Torres was kind of out there kicking the ball around. So I think it's precautionary, to be honest. Just letting him heal because they can afford to. They can afford to. Now the other interesting thing that was, he hasn't really played this year, but Chase Gasper from Minnesota that the Galaxy got last year, big money. He paid a lot for this dude. They just let him walk, right? He's gone. Done. And that's a defender, and they're short on defenders. That happened. Of course, their reasoning is they brought in Julian Alde from Argentina, and also Lucas Calegari from Brazil, who is now a starter. We'll talk about him in a few seconds, is why they felt that they had the opening to do that. Now, looking at their lineups in the lead up to this, of course, usually they play a 4-1-4-1. They have flirted with a 3-5-2 when they've been behind to try to make things happen. I think we can all look at each other and go, yeah, I dare you to play a 3-5-2 against LAFC. I dare you to get into that transition game. I will take that every day of the week. I wouldn't expect that. I would definitely expect them to try to shut things down to 4-1-4-1. Again, Jovic has been the guy, but Chicharito is healthy now, so you'd expect him to be the starter. I know he's not had a 90-minute game or even started yet this year, but if he's healthy, how do you not? Midfield, basically, Brugman would be your anchor, right? Your low midfielder. Delgado, Puig would be above him. Sorry. And then Rodriguez on the right, Boyd potentially on the left. At least that's what they did against Houston. Calegari as your right back. The Snake as your left back. Neil and Caceres in the back line. Of course, we know Caceres is gone. And so this makes the hard conversation of who gets to play. We talked about this off air. I'm going to throw this one over to you, Bam. Who is replacing Caceres for this match?
It's got to be Mavinga. It's easy, Mavinga. In their match against Seattle, Mavinga was subbed on for him, so it's just a straight like for like.
I think he's had like 6 appearances already anyway. I think every game he's featured at some point. So it just makes sense. So it's going to be Neil and Mavinga as your center backs potentially. Is that what we're looking at for this game?
I'd be surprised if it's not those two.
Okay. There's some other names. I think Koulibaly, who hasn't played a minute yet, is on the roster. Who's the other one? Zavaleta. like what family member of the coach, right? Yeah, I mean, those guys could play center back too, but those aren't going to be your top choices. Let's be honest. Outside of that, outside midfield, do you think the midfield remains the same? Tony, I'm going to go to you. Your thoughts on their starting 11? Do you see any differences? Do you think the 3-5-2 is going to show up? What are you looking at?
I think the 3-5-2 is going to be probably their show up, just because they don't. Again, they haven't done anything that works, so they're probably going to just go to what makes them comfortable for the day and just see what happens. But I don't see any changes with them except for, like, again, the players that have left because of red cards or injury.
Should be interesting. I mean, if they play the 3-5-2, that means that you're asking either Edwards or Caligari to play in a center back role, or finding one of the other guys off the bench, who've got no minutes. Really would be an interesting transition and who moves in. Of course, that would give them the chance to get Jovic and Chicho on the field at the same time, but they've had no real time with that. Well, it'd be a total gamble from them, and it could go south very quickly. So again, they're in a moment where they are desperate. So expect things. Now, every time we have played Greg Vanney, he has found a way to find a hole. First game, I think Dolo played against them. They found a way to hit us on the back post and expose Palacios, right? We've had moments with Murillo losing his cool and making mistakes. We've had issues, mostly with the back line and inexperience for the most part. They're going to look for it again, but this year we've kind of bolstered things in the back. And so that brings it back to us and what we think is going to happen with our lineup. And I think that's the bigger story, is how are we going to approach this game with the opportunity that we have? Is it going to be the roster or the lineup that we saw for the Open Cup? Is there going to be a wrinkle to this lineup? Where do we go next with this? So looking, of course, at the back line, McCarthy's your starter. No questions asked. The big question is the center back pairing. Is it Murillo and Long? Is it Murillo and Chiellini, who got some rest? I will go first to you, Ken. Who do you think our center backs are going to be for this one?
Chiellini for sure. And that's all I'm sure of.
You think Murillo is going to be his partner, or Long?
Oh, man. Murillo, he's a bad man. I mean, the dude is a beast. And that might complement Chiellini, the lighter frame, more cerebral, more ahead of the game type of play. But Long, damn.
Yeah.
It's Chiellini. It's all I'm saying, man. I don't know.
All right. Aristella, your center back choices.
I'm going with Chiellini and Murillo. Looking at the schedule, there's no quick turnaround. They will have a full week of rest, so I say go all in.
Ooh, Tony?
You go with Chiellini, who knows how to play in big games, and then, of course, you go with someone who's been there and has the fire to bring up the troops when we need to be, is Murillo.
There we go. So if they fail to get their Juventus guys on the field, we'll get our Juventus guy on the field. Simple as that.
Murillo does bring the fire.
Let's see. One of the Juventus guys, let's be honest.
Okay, the face of Juventus for many, many years, and the man that wore the armband. The legend of legends, not like the other two. Let's be real, right? Bam?
It's got to be those two, Murillo and Chiellini, plain and simple. I do see Long coming into the game later on, but it's got to start with those two.
There we go. Outside backs. Last time we had Hollingshead and Palacios. I'm going to throw my opinion. I think it stays the same because of experience and knowing what those guys bring to this. And then using speed at the end and bringing in Palencia to go rock it up at the end of this game as a counter. I think that's where my head is at. Ken, your choices for your outside backs, what are you going with?
Well, I think Steve's coaching philosophy, he wants them to be their self-contained unit who makes the decisions and makes the plans. And that only happens when you have people working together. So I think we're going to pretty much stay the same for probably more games than this, irrespective of the 60 matches that we have to play. That is my total absolute wag at it. Remember wag stands for, right?
So go with what works. Go who knows the system the best.
Yeah, they know each other.
Yeah,
you know, that's it. It's how our team is built now. It's the opposite of how we had it with Bob.
I'd agree. Everyone had to fit his system rather than fit each other. And now we have a more pragmatic approach to the game, where we'll cede possession when we feel like it, rather than try to just shove it down everybody's throat. Like, this is how we play. No, we're pragmatic.
You take what's given.
Exactly. And we're playing a possession-based team, so let them play to what they think there is their strength. All right, let's move on to the midfield. I think we have pretty much consensus on that. As much as we love Palencia, experience wins today. Here's the story. We know Sanchez. That's the guy that's going to anchor your midfielder. Midfield. No one's going to debate that. Acosta. Are you kidding? He's going to be out there. I don't see it any other way. The big story will be, is it Tillman, the new face of this rivalry, or are you going with Sifu, who's hungry and has scored against these guys in the past? That guy. It's the story. The new face, the man of experience. Araceli, you get first crack. Who do you think wins out for this one?
As much as I like how Tillman's been performing the last couple of matches, I gotta say put Cifuentes in there simply just for experience.
And a wonder goal.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, thoughts?
Sifu is my boy. I love Sifu. I love Sifu, but I'm going to say Tillman. Tillman deserves a right to start. He deserves a right to start, and I think Sifu coming off the bench will be a lot more dangerous than a starting Sifu. So I'm going to go start with Tillman.
Nice. Ken?
I got to think about Bam's answer some now. You know, because I'm a Sifu fan, big time. He's awesome.
You're voting? Are you voting for Sifu? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. God, let me think about it.
You got it. We'll go to Tony.
Headache here now.
There it is. Tony?
I say you do Sifu because he's got the hot hand with the goal and everything. He's raring to go, and use Tillman as the speed and youth at the end, because again, we come any other game, any other thing, I would agree with Tillman, every stuff like that. But with them, our closing last 20 minutes is always horrendous. Something always goes wrong. Something always goes their way, or something like that. So we need as much firepower as we can at the end.
So I'm going to give my nuanced answer to this, because honestly, I think we need to hear from what they say and what we've seen from them to tell you where it's at. Are we going to look at a game that's going to be fast and a back and forth and a finesse game, or are we going to be in for a back alley brawl? If it's a brawl.
It's a brawl.
Okay. Who feels more comfortable with physical play? And you've heard their quotes, some this week. Sifu in a battle, or Tillman in a physical battle? Tillman, we've heard multiple times, didn't like the Bundesliga 2 vibe because it was very physical and didn't let him do the technical work he liked to do. Also, defending is something he has learned over time. Sifu, on the hand, says nothing, does the job, and grinds it out. If that is what the story is, and they go with that 4-1-4-1, and we know how physical they are, I'm thinking Sifu gets it, right? Grind it, and then Sifu gets it. If our thought is that we're going to take the game to them and try to pummel them early, at least, fast game, then it's Tillman. But I have a funny feeling he's going to go for the grinder. Does that change anybody's thoughts on that?
The headache's getting worse.
Getting worse, yeah. So I have a thought it's going to be Sifu, man. I do. Just because of the history. He knows what they bring to the table.
He's a badass.
He is. He
will mix it up.
And yeah.
But you save him for the end?
Well,
They're
I
down.
know. I think we go after them. Remember, who are their subs gonna be as this game goes along? Because there's no way the 11 are gonna stay the same. It weakens heavily for them with each substitution coming off, and opens the game up more for us. And then you get Tillman in there fresh while their guys are tired, chasing the game, and that's when you can lay in the dagger. Whether we're behind or ahead, him coming in with his skill set, who can score from distance, can hit the ball like the best of them. I think a super sub with him is going to be the story. That's where my head's at. So, final thoughts on Ken, your thought, or you're like, man, forget it, man. Just let's go to forwards.
I think Sifu's going to start. Tillman's going to come in and score 3 goals.
Bam, there we go. All right, which brings it to the front line.
Either.
There you go. Front line. I don't think we're going to have a shock here. We know who it is. Bouanga, Vela, and Araceli?
Mahala.
Bam?
Opoku.
Tony?
Buke.
Hey, there you go. I see someone. That'd be different. Ken?
I love Mahala.
There it is. And I'm gonna say it's gonna
I'm a
be
fan.
Mahala Opoku as well. Yeah, he's been in this before. He knows. And I think experience wins the day in this game. It really, really does. And all of those guys that have had the years of frustration against them, they want to be out there. They want to be out there to prove something. And every guy that we've talked about in this lineup that we think is going to be starters has had the taste of this already. So I think it just makes perfect sense to let them get their revenge.
I think MLS has a lot of rivalries. This one is legit. And I think you're right. I think the players are taking this to heart. I don't care what John or Steve has to say or try to hold the reins back to temper it. No, it's personal. There's a lot of unpleasant history.
Ugly history in that house. I mean, you remember, to me, the hardest moment I saw when talking about one-sided things that just weren't right was when Fall scored that goal and then they took it away from him. That's my lasting memory of that place. Of any of the games I've been there where it's gone not so great. To me, just watching that young player get crushed by a BS call, that's mine. Like, I want the dagger. I want revenge for that one. That's where my head's at. Bam?
For me, this is going to sound really weird, I do not see both teams finishing with 11 men this game.
No way.
I think it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out brawl. Something's going to happen on the pitch. It's going to be maybe a dirty tackle here or there. It's going to come together, and I can see 2 players getting sent off. 1 from each team.
I'm worried it'll only be 1, and it'll be against us because you know how this league operates.
No, see, I would say that, but I think that with what's happening and all that kind of stuff, the league's looking at it going, maybe we need to be more fair with this game. And that's why they've got Villarreal as a main referee. They got Druzvic in at VAR, who has done some great VAR work and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I can only see both teams finishing with 10 men. I don't see us finishing with 11.
Oof, man. All right. That's going to be a hard one to figure out who that could be, but I think I'm with you. If it does happen, it's got to be a coming together kind of thing where they're meleeing at this point. But which Carson on a lot of occasions has been mobbing refs. Like, I'm surprised they haven't got fined for it yet.
Which for me is why I think what's going to happen is we're going to start with Tillman. Tillman's going to go for a ticky-tacky, get a cheap shot by a Carson player. That's what's going to call it, bring it all together.
That guy getting hit. Or okay. Well, it's this is going to be a show, right? We can't predict it because you know how it is. Going to be tough. It's going to be tough for all of us. I think we need to throw it out to our supporters to give their comments, and we'll close this bad boy out. Guys, it's your chance. Give us your 2 cents. Tell us what's going on. Join this conversation. You want to make predictions, do it. You know I won't, but you're more than welcome to do so. All right, let's get some comments going here. Oh, man. Do. Jose Bernal, I'll give you the first one. What do you guys know about the Galaxy? Are they forcing their supporter groups to go to the game? I heard they're between a rock and a hard place. That's the rumors. I'm not saying this is true. Rumors. I don't want to put my name on this, but from what I heard, that their season tickets are at risk of being canceled, just like it happens with our stuff with our club when people are continually just reselling their tickets. This is a thing, but I heard that has been warned to multiple people that have V Block tickets. That's what I heard. I've also heard that there's a risk of supporters losing their membership in their supporter groups if they go out and abandon the protests. So that's are rumors, pretty ugly ones. Is there truth to it? No one's going to confirm that with us, but the rumblings. You hear rumblings. That's for
Doesn't
sure.
anyone spy on the Carson podcasts?
Everyone does all the time.
I never have. I don't know.
I can't watch them. I mean, I just don't. I don't dig it. I
I'm
don't.
wondering if there's some nuggets of truth in some of those podcasts.
Who knows? I mean, I will say that I'm not going to shout out any of them, but one of them does actually go heavy with quotes and stuff and tends to say things they don't like to hear. So credit to them on that sort of thing. But yeah, I'd rather get the sound bites from the players and the coaches, and they haven't sounded great. I'll be honest. Again, Vanny throwing up the cuss words and going off today didn't help his cause either. LAC Wolf, right? Says my wife family's 99% Galaxy. She's the only black and gold supporter. The clowns have not even said a word, meme, or post. I wonder what is going on. Usually I'm being made fun of. Something is up. Something is up as they think they're going to get thrashed, and there's no way you're going to stick your neck up for that. And they're not proud of their side right now. That's real talk. I get it. Edgar Corral, Galaxy FO called the supporters a bluff and lost bad. That is for true. I'm not sure they even care though, but yeah. Jose Bernal, with the prices they have for the game, we are paying for their season. Yeah, it's a lot for the supporter section. I'm not going to quote prices, but if you know, you know. It's probably double, triple what others are paying. It's pretty rough. But that we've come to see that from multiple teams in the league this year and last year is we pay way more than all the seats around us for the luxury of having a supporter section. So us, we're gonna pay it because we want to be there. Love is love. This is our team. We'll be there no matter what. Yeah, stinks, but there it is. Jose Bernal, Galaxy will VAR with ticket sales, give them a penalty. Yeah, it's rough, but again, they're not the only ones that do that to us. Down on Hill, I hope Long subs on so Carson can see what they were rumored to get. Did Aaron pull an Ilie and switch up and choose correctly, or a classic case of media getting the two LA teams confused? I guarantee he heard from both. Why would he not? Several teams were chasing him down. I've heard some cool stories as to why, but I was asked not to share them out of respect for those involved. But I will say that we came well recommended from former players and their families. I think I'll go that far to say it. That the culture that you all built was one of the big reasons why he came to us, and the culture that our club is built for the players. I don't know. Maybe that's as far as I can take that. LOL trash can says Sifu. There it is. Velez believes that Tillman will start. He's been putting in some work every game he plays. Sifu tends to give up on plays and stop running. Interesting. Agreed with Bam, says Wolf. Defenders, yeah, they notice Ken is on. There it is. With their lovely vision of Ollie on their logo. Nice. Wolf, his thoughts. Carlos says Galaxy is going to try and make it a dirty game. Their only chance is to try and knock LAFC off their game. They're going to complain about every tackle. And I will say, if that is their game, they will lose and lose badly, because there's one thing I have noticed with the players we brought in. And we made a big talk about this to win MLS Cup, is we needed grit and experience. And every step of the way we've brought in grit and experience to change our back line, right? You have Hollingshead back there, Chiellini back there. We have guys that aren't scared to mix it up. You look at our midfield, not scared to mix it up. You can't intimidate this team anymore. It's not like the early days where we had a lot of finesse guys, undersized guys, young kids. We've gotten a lot older in our roster. It's not that team anymore. They'll be playing the wrong LAFC if that's their approach to the game.
Yeah, you have gotten mean. I love it. Proud of it.
Smart by our club. Gomez Jr., I hate MLS for making the game at 1:30. I'll say this. I give them credit for having us play on a separate day than all the other games, because Apple has basically forced everyone together, and you don't get to see the games unless you watch the whip around. And in this case, we get featured all by our lonesome for the whole world to watch. I give them credit for that at least. What happened?
Gomez, would you rather 1:30 p.m. or for me 6:30 a.m.?
There it is. There it is, which is what every English league match that everybody watches over here when they go to the pub. So, yeah, there's that. We have LOL Man's calling for a 3-0 clean sheet because, well, if we roll those dice, why wouldn't we roll them again? Michael, there he goes, another amazing FC Bayern supporter. Prediction 3-0, Carson, red card in the 60th. Oh, boy. LAFC Wolf, Dolo must go for the win to become the coach that wins at Carson. They want it. They want it. Michael goes, my two favorite bird mascots, Ollie and the Adler in Eintracht Frankfurt. In case you don't know, Adler is the eagle. Eintracht has an eagle, a big old eagle. Beautiful, beautiful bird. Big, huge. But they're not mascots, Michael. They're not mascots. Right, Ken? You want to respond? You look like you're ready to respond. Go for it, man. Go for it.
We do not have a mascot. Mascots are people who dress up in silly, fuzzy costumes. We have a badass symbol that hunts down and kills the opponent's crest as our pregame ritual. Okay, I feel better. Thank you.
Dude, we have an amazing symbol. Yeah, that hunts for real. Okay.
When he chases the lure, they're not playing like my dog. That's their quarry. She is hunting it down. They wish to kill it to eat. And they want to hunt more than they want to breathe.
That doesn't look like he's playing, does it, Ken? Look at that. Look at that lure.
That's a one-time only. No, I used that one twice. A couple days before I had some blood on it for some sadistical mental issues I have.
It has blood. So
nobody you know. Don't worry about it.
I don't see a fuzzy mascot doing that. So there's that. Well done, Ken. All right. Mr. Velez says team needs to rough up Puig. If we get him off his game, it's all over for Carson. He looks like the kid that delivers the newspaper, man. I don't know. This is my vibe. No, dude, if it gets rough, their guys aren't as physical as ours these days. So I think it would backfire immensely.
Well, Muriel might go down on a murder charge, but
we need to keep their heads cool. That's for sure. Gomez Jr. Can't wait until our Cabral demolishes our Cabral. I love it. I love it. Hey, the debutantes this year in the podcast world for LAFC. Welcome to the pod, fam boys. Happy Foot, Sad Foot is on, and they say, I have a feeling Puig and Jovic are going to want to prove a point this game. We shouldn't underestimate them. Also, Ken, has Ollie ever flown far enough away that you got worried? Oh, I know you got stories. Go for it, Ken.
She was about 6 months old, flying out in the agricultural area of Oxnard because there's like nothing there. She's just a kiddo. And she took off my glove and she flew straight away, about a mile. And I'm looking at this on my phone because we have GPS on her. And she only had gotten up like 600 foot in the air. Then she turned around and rode all the way back. And I'm swinging the lure and I'm seeing this. I literally grabbed the lure, fell to the ground in a fetal position, and she went past me about 220 something miles an hour. And that was very typical of the early training issues with Ollie, keeping her inside that itty bitty little stadium and slowing her down so you could see her. So when she was learning to fly out in the opens, she would literally go to like next to a mountain because that was her idea of what is an acceptable area to fly.
So beyond where the eye could see, right? You no longer saw her anymore, and then comes at you at full tilt at about 200, right? Because she is one of the fastest creatures on Earth, correct?
She was, I think that was 224 that day. We had the GPS knock up to ping like 10 times a second, which, you know, because it's like really cool to see all the details. But I've gotten wiser and more attached to her. So we're only pinging the GPS once every like 2 to 4 seconds. So we don't get the high resolution of the speeds. But if anything does happen to her, we'll have telemetry on her for like 7 days.
Wow. Oh, yes. So it stays active longer. The battery stays up. Gotcha. Got you. Has she ever disappeared for any period of time, or has it been quick return?
No, just to give me a heart attack. You know, that was the young Ollie.
Any moments in stadium where you were a little bit worried for?
Oh, everyone remembers the time she left the stadium.
Yeah.
The northeast corner. And I was standing on the pitch thinking, mother frugger, man. No, is this the first time ever? And
That was like a playoff game too.
But usually we have Jason, my son, up on the roof at the very top of the stadium, and he's watching on GPS, and he has Sonny ready to go. So if Ollie really does take off, he'll see that. We'll shine a green laser on top of the canopy above him that I could see, and he'll unhood Sonny. Sonny will come down, hit the lure, and we'll start the game off with a win. Then we'll go get Ollie. If I don't die of a heart attack, anxiety, then and at halftime come back and say, "Hey, you never guess what happened." So that's about as far as we'll kind of like fudge the truth with you guys. But we didn't ever want to start off with a loss, you know, something embarrassing to the team or the fans. And another thing people ask me about often, since I'm on a roll, is when we say it's Ollie, there's only one Ollie. There's only ever been one Ollie, and there will only be one Ollie. And we do have backups that we've actually gone through quite a few because, you know, like a team, you keep chasing up from the bottom. You know, keep your level of flight and consistency at the highest level. So we have Ollie, Sonny's number 2, and Angel, who's a Peregrine Falcon, is number 3. And by the way, Angel, I don't know if you saw the write-up I did on her, but Ollie weighs like 630 grams. Angel weighs 850 grams. She's a beast. And I suspect next year that she'll be a solid number 2. Maybe contention for number 1.
Amazing. Amazing.
Next year, you will see Jason also fly a great deal.
Oh, yeah? We're going to see him on the field?
On the pitch.
Excellent.
It's not a field, it's a pitch.
Which I know he's come out for Open Cup matches before.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And now it's going to be some league matches too.
Yeah, he's the future.
There we go.
Yeah, they can
Excellent.
put in that much work and not give him what he earned.
There we go.
Need it.
We are, I mean, we'll all tell you we're blessed, Ken. I mean, we really are. The culture that you've put in, again, it's just beautiful to see. We are absolutely lucky, and there's nothing in the world like what you're doing, and it's unique yet again. So, yeah, we cherish these birds just as much as you do. Not close. I mean, the work you're putting in with them, but it's one of these things where if that's not happening, it just doesn't feel right. You know, gotta be there. Gotta be there. It's the fam for sure. We talk about black and gold family. We know.
It's kind of on a jersey somewhere too. This is all backwards. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. All right. So looking at the comments, it's a lot of reactions as to what you were saying, which was awesome. So thank you, Michael. Thank you, Happy Foot, Sad Foot, Gomez Jr. He's talking about tea and coffee versus beer. That's some funny stuff. Thank you guys for everything that you threw in. Again, rocking it. Everybody rocking it. Well done. On that note, it is come to that time. I know. Coming to the end of the episode. So we'll give our final thoughts from everybody here, and we are going to call this a night and get ready for the match itself. So when it comes to the final thoughts, let's start with our veterans. We'll give Ken the final word, and then I'll give a sign off. So, Araceli, final thoughts.
Final thoughts are simple, although it's not technically a home game. You know, I got to pull the soapbox out real quick for this one. You know, just the typical stay safe, stay together, please be smart. As Joseph mentioned earlier, you know, this game, everybody's going to be watching this game. Not only is it Apple TV, but it's also going to be free on Apple TV, in addition to being on a national broadcast on Fox. So practically the whole world will be watching this game. So please, please be on your best behavior. I cannot emphasize that enough. Other than that, have fun, have a great time with friends, and let's get the result.
Boom. There we go. Stay golden mentality. You see that, everybody? All right. Bam. Final thoughts, sir.
Final thoughts. Obviously, big game this week coming up. You know, let's just go out there, try and get the win, show them what it is to support LA and what the team in LA is. And as I always say, mental health is a huge impact for all of us. A conversation can save a life. Give your friends a call, send them a message, meet up at the game, have a beer with them, have a water with them. You know, always look after each other. And again, as I always say every episode, if you do need help, you can reach out to any of us, or you can contact the crisis lines in LA, 800-273-8255. We also got the Trevor Project Lifeline that supports the LGBTQ community and all that too. That's 800-788-7386. Or just text LA to 741-741 and they'll put you in with a counselor that you need help with. So remember, it's okay to not be okay. There's always someone out there that can help you.
Well said, brother. Yes, definitely watch out for each other. We're talking about community. We're talking about friends. We're talking about family. Live it. Live by it. Thank you, brother. Tony, final words.
For those who are going to the game with us at 3252, be ready for an all-day event. You know how it goes. You know the precautions that we put in place. So make sure you follow those rules and know the times that you need to be there. I am not overlooking this game. This has been a heartbreak game every time we go there. So, of course, I want a win, especially since last time, and it would feel the healing process of what happened last time, especially for me personally. So again, I'm not overlooking them. They turn into a different team when they face us every time at Dignity. So I'm not saying, oh, this is an easy win. We're going to do this. Every time we do this, we come back here and we're disappointed. So the best way to say it is go in, go hard, and our team, I know, will show up for us. Drink responsibly, because this is one of those events where any Carson fan, any drunk non-Carson fan is going to look for a fight. So, and after that, we'll see what happens. And again, no predictions, no nothing. Go out there, have fun, and I will see you guys out there. So have tea, have cough drops ready to sing full 90 plus.
Boom. There we go. Follow Tony's lead, guys. You know he'll be doing his capo work. He always does, giving the ultimate passion for everybody. Let's do this. All right, Ken. Dude, it has been an absolute honor to have you on. Beyond a pleasure. Definitely want to have you come on again. Just give us the green light.
Here again, or is it free?
Don't have to pay this time. It's a free
Okay.
one. Yes. You've punched the card enough. This one's gonna be for free. So yeah, man. Beautiful to have you on here. Welcome you anytime. Final thoughts, sir, on the lead up to this one. You have the floor, my friend.
I think you three who spoke earlier encapsulated what is beautiful about this club. And I'm very proud to be associated with this caliber of people and this organization. And you guys are amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ken. Man, loving it. Loving every bit of it. You've made it special for us. You really have. Man, we're all just lucky to be in this community, to be honest. We just are, without a doubt. I will throw this out to everybody. We always talk about staying golden, and we mean it. When we say stay golden, that means do your best for your club. Represent your club to the fullest, represent it the right way. That is a stay golden mentality. You support throughout. Good times, bad, you support. That's the idea of staying golden. So now we're in a game that's going to be tough. It ain't going to be easy. It ain't going to be a walk in the park. Their record might look terrible, but when you throw this game together, throw everything out the window. You're in a rivalry match. It's real. It might not go our way. It might definitely go our way. Either way, be on your best. Do your best to represent us in the best possible way you can. What does that mean? 90 nonstop, no holding back. If you go out of this game and you're not, feeling it in your voice, if it ain't hurting, if it ain't gravelly at the end of this thing, you didn't do your job. If you're in that stadium, give your all. Do your best. Whatever happens in this game, when you're leaving that place, represent us with honor. Go in singing, go out singing. Do it the right way. Don't get suckered into doing something stupid. You got to realize we are on the top right now. And the one thing you know for certain in this world is when you are on the top, everyone wants to tear you down. And they love it even more when you tear yourself down. Okay? So I'm going to say this. Don't be that guy. Right? Don't be the one to tear the rest of us down and give us a bad mark. Be the one that brings us up. Every last one of you. Go in there. Make it a story. Make it a beautiful thing. We will always win in the stands. Always. Final thing to my crew. Thank you, all of you, for doing what you do. You keep us moving. You keep us alive. You keep the show getting better and better and better. And to you, Ken, my brother, it is, again, an honor to have you here. Can't wait to talk about this thing off air as well, man. It's been good, dude. It's been good. And we'll do our best to do you guys right by you guys in this game this weekend. On that note, final word. We always end it with a stay golden. So I will throw it to you, Araceli. Final word.
Stay golden.
Bam.
Stay golden.
Tony.
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
Ken.
Stay golden, brothers and sisters.
And from me to all of you, stay golden, Los Angeles.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.